We continue to watch the tropics this morning as we have Hurricane Humberto and Tropical Storm Imelda. Now, Imelda is about to become a hurricane. It probably will be a hurricane by the time some of you folks watch this video. But as of right at this second, still a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm. We're going to speak on both of these storm systems still just because they will bring impacts to Bermuda. So we certainly don't want to just leave you guys hanging. If I got anybody tuning in from that area, certainly put something in the comments below. Let me know what you're seeing and all that. And then after that, we'll speak on other areas in the tropics that I'm watching for the potential for tropical development. Nothing has been dubbed an area of interest per the National Hurricane Center or anything like that as of right now, but I could see that changing over the next few days or so. After that, we'll speak on today's weather across the entire lower 48. Not a whole lot going on today, by the way. And then we'll round the video off with a Bible devotion if you want to join us for that. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. Make sure that works. We're good. So this is Hurricane Humberto, very close to Bermuda right now. Bermuda is this little mini circle right here. So we're going to get some outer bands over the next 36 hours or so. And then this is a high-end tropical storm Imelda. Center of circulation, right into here. And I do think this will look a little bit better looking throughout the day. Right now, you can see some dry air trying to get wrapped into the lower section of this tropical system. But this is slowly strengthening, and like I said, will become a hurricane sometime in the next update or two per the National Hurricane Center. But this is the system that will follow right behind Humberto and could make, there's a potential for it. I know Bermuda's pretty small, but could make an exact landfall over Bermuda over the next couple of days. It'll follow right behind Humberto. And in fact, after these two storm systems kind of fully exit east of Bermuda, they could combine. I've had a lot of questions in the comments asking, could these two storm systems combine and make a stronger storm system? Well, I think they could combine. I just don't think they'll get any stronger. I think they'll just eventually both weaken, even if they combine into nothing, just like any other tropical system does eventually. So model guidance is showing them combining those somewhat. So that's a live look at both of these storm systems. Nothing else going on in the tropics, but it's pretty wild how close these systems are to one another, right? So the latest from the National Hurricane Center, Humberto is a 972 millibar hurricane, 100-mile-per-hour storm, moving 17 miles per hour north-northwest. And then we got Imelda right behind it, 70 mile per hour tropical storm. If it goes up 5 more miles per hour, it will become a hurricane. Can't get my words right there, but 981. I think this is Imelda is a great example of how you can't always guess the category based off millibar, based off what you're looking at with model guidance. I would think personally that a 981 millibar system would be considered a hurricane if I was looking at model guidance kind of in the future, right? But just goes to show you the millibar doesn't always show everything. In fact, I would say that once you get in the 970s, you might have a category 2 hurricane, kind of like Humberto, right? 972, 981, only a 9 millibar difference, but Humberto is a 100-mile-per-hour storm. Imelda is 30 miles per hour less at a 70 mile per hour storm. So great example of that there. But the latest cone for Imelda, we're not going to show the cone for Humberto just because this system is going to continue to turn and move away. But Imelda, 70 mile per hour storm, should turn into a hurricane sometime today. Should strengthen a little bit by tonight. And then by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, should be a higher end category 1 hurricane. Could strengthen into a category 2 from Wednesday afternoon to Wednesday night. The good news about Bermuda, and by the way, you guys have a hurricane watch, not for Humberto, but for Imelda. Okay, hurricane watch is up for Imelda. Okay, but I mean, in a pretty short amount of time, it's going to go from Wednesday afternoon as a Cat 1 to Thursday 2 a.m. So basically, Wednesday afternoon to late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, it'll go from here to there. So it'll race across Bermuda probably sometime Wednesday night as a strengthening Category 1 into Category 2 hurricane. And, I mean, the center of this cone's right over you guys. So there is a chance this makes an exact landfall. And then it could kind of hook It's going to lose its tropical characteristics, but, you know, for right now, Atlantic Canada, you know, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, you guys are not in the cone. It looks like this is just going to race out into the far North Atlantic, into those cold, chilly waters that are getting cooler by the minute as we are about to enter October. It's I always call September 30th, October 1st, Septober. It's kind of a joke between me and my coworkers. We always say Septober. But anyways, enough of all that. Let's go over model guidance. Starting off this afternoon, you can see these two storm systems right here. You got Imelda, you got Humberto. Watch what happens here. You know, Humberto races off to the north. Bermuda's this little speck right here. And then Imelda follows right behind. Imelda actually becomes the dominant storm. 9:74, we get into Wednesday night. Boom, that L moves right over this area right here, which is Bermuda. And then they kind of combine. The leftovers of Humberto kind of get sucked into Imelda. They don't strengthen necessarily, but then this just races away. So it's interesting to listen. The GFS shows this too. Watch this. We get into tomorrow afternoon. Here it comes. Category 1 or 2 hurricane. Goes right over Bermuda. We'll have to see if that actual center of circulation does, but you can see the leftovers of Humberto kind of getting sucked into Imelda right there. So they do kind of combine. It's interesting. It just doesn't mean a whole lot of anything, as all this energy just kind of goes way out into the North Atlantic. Now, if we go over some hurricane models, this is getting into about 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Bermuda right here. This is the H-Wharf model. It takes this hurricane, and the actual center of circulation looks like it goes maybe a hair north of the island. And this is like right in the middle of the night tomorrow night too. And the worst of the action on the H-Wharf model looks to be on the north side of the system, which would be good news for Bermuda. But it's going to be a rough night tomorrow night regardless, and then this races off, right? What about the HFA model? Same thing, kind of takes a similar path, but it has that center of circulation, the actual eye of the hurricane, moving a little bit faster and moving maybe a hair south of the island. So where is the most intense portion of this eye wall? That will be huge for Bermuda. And it looks to be on the north side of the system. So you're going to want to hope that the center of circulation moves north of Bermuda. Not south. If it kind of moves through here, then you're going to get hit by that eye wall pretty hard for at least a couple hours probably. And then you look at the HFB model. Where's Bermuda? Here it is. Looks like it moves north. So it looks like model guides might favor maybe just north. And I would favor north too, just because a stronger tropical system is always going to kind of want to go a hair north of model guidance. So hopefully this just moves north of you guys rather than south. Honestly, moving just south of you guys would be worse than an actual landfall. Just because you guys will get hit by the northern section of this storm. So let's hope that this system doesn't kind of take this route down here, or you guys would get hit by the dirty side of the system, which in this case is the north side. So if you look at the, say, the H-Wharf model, and as this moves through, this is, come on, get in motion for us. Man, this thing does not want to move. Okay, here we go. And where's Bermuda? Where's Bermuda? Right there. Bermuda right here. This is predicted wind gusts. This is predicted wind speeds. This is not gusts. So these areas kind of in the white and the pinkish color, I mean, that's sustained 60 to 75 mile per hour winds. Okay, and you continue. And the H-Wharf model really just wants the center of the system to go right over the island. And then you got to watch sort of the backside northerly flow of this system. You know, have that 79 here. You just, how intense is the worst part of this eye wall, and does it hit Bermuda? That's a big question here, but those are some strong wind gusts. I mean, this area right here, this is over 80 to 90, almost 100 mile per hour winds, not wind gusts. I need to stop saying that, but just winds. I mean, these are just wind speeds, not wind gusts. So this is going to be a powerful system, and the time frame is tomorrow night. It's going to be moving fast, but it's going to be a fast, hard hitter. Okay, so this is chances to see tropical storm force wind gusts, and you know, Bermuda. I mean, you got a 100% chance to see tropical storm force winds. But what about hurricane force winds? Bermuda right now, I mean, you got a solid I mean, you got a solid 50% chance. I mean, you most likely are going to see hurricane force winds, which is 75-mile-per-hour winds or higher. So, moving past Humberto, and I'll be happy when I don't have to say Humberto anymore. That's very soon. Thank the good Lord. Imelda's easier, even though I'm going to keep saying Arlene for whatever reason. But I'm really sick of saying Humberto. No offense to anybody named Humberto. But let's look at other areas. So this is the GFS. We're going to start this off this coming Saturday morning, October the 4th. I really want to watch kind of the Northern Gulf and even just all of the Gulf, and then areas of the Caribbean and off the coast of the Southeast. That's a lot of areas to watch, right? So I want to watch this weekend for a quick spin up in the Northern Gulf. That could happen first. And then the GFS, which loves to pop stuff off in the Caribbean a little bit too much, wants to get something going in the Western Caribbean near, Central America, the Yucatan Peninsula, spins up a tropical system, and yeah, so we'll watch for that. And then it wants to get a wave going way out here and sneak this into the Eastern Caribbean. And, tries to develop this past day 10, right around the Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, something like that. But this is as far out as the run as we got. And then what if you look at the Euro? Same thing, kind of has a lot of energy clustered up right here. I could see a quick tropical system spinning up this weekend. Don't let it catch you off guard if you live along the Gulf Coast. But you also see a lot of energy off the coast of the Southeast too. And this is because we kind of have a trough in place, a stalled trough. Basically when you have a trough, you have a boundary, cold front boundary in place. And this kind of shunts all the energy off into the open waters of the Gulf sometimes, or off the coast of the Southeast. So something quick can spin up. So I'd actually watch for a lot of moisture hanging out off the coast of Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas into this weekend, early next week. And there's just a lot of little clusters of energy everywhere. I mean, this is getting into about a week from today. You got this little energy right here. We get between day 7 and day 10. It wants to throw a lot of tropical moisture right into the Carolinas kind of sometime next week. We'll watch for that. Anything else out there? Not really on the Euro. What about the Euro AI model? Okay, same thing. Has a lot of energy in the Northern Gulf this weekend, even over Florida off the coast of the Southeast. It wants to, as we're getting between day 7 and 10, get a little wave going out here. And then it has some energy here in the Bay of Campeche. And doesn't do much with this wave. And then we get way out here. I mean, we're getting into mid-month. And it does develop a tropical system sort of in the Western Gulf, but I mean, it's over 300 hours out. Super hard to take that serious. And then we look at the icon, and it actually wants to more so spin up something off the east coast of Florida this weekend rather than the Northern Gulf. Now, the Northern Gulf does have something here. There's a lot of little areas of energy. Best way to really, if you looked at all that over the last couple minutes, you're like, man, I didn't see really anything. Another good way to see this is the lower level energy in the atmosphere, 850 millibars, 4,000 to 6,000 feet up in the air. And you can see that energy right here up against the Gulf coastline. You can see sort of the yellows, the darker oranges, even some reds and browns or whatever color you want to call that there. That little spin up moves into the Gulf states. And then you got a spin up down here in the Western Caribbean, not a forecast. And that kind of spins over the Yucatan. Then you can see a defined little tropical wave right down here, moving into the Eastern Caribbean. And just little spins everywhere, but nothing concerning. Now, if we look at the Euro ensemble between now and the next week, it does show a little member action right in here, but I mean, out of 51 members, that's not a very impressive signal. I don't even know if you would call that a signal. You go to about day 10, you see a little something in the Bay of Campeche, little squigglies around Florida, Cuba, but not a big deal. Now, you do see a little signal out here for sort of tropical wave action, but I mean, I wouldn't take that super serious. Now, the GFS ensemble, it shows a lot more member action. Listen, one thing about the GFS ensemble, it does the same thing in the winter, is it's always going to follow its operational run. So if the operational run shows a tropical system in the Western Caribbean, the GFS ensemble is going to follow it. The Euro and the Euro ensemble do not do that. But the GFS and its ensemble do it. So it does show a lot of member action right where the GFS showed it. And then we go to 240 hours out, and it does show a signal for a tropical wave, kind of like what the Euro ensemble showed, and shows a lot of action in the Gulf, the Caribbean. Now, to support the GFS ensemble here, the pattern does support some tropical energy down here, so I would say that. Now, if we look at the Google DeepMind model, it kind of follows the euro, not a heavy signal. We go about 10 days out. It does like that tropical wave signal out here in the MDR. So when I was saying in the beginning of the video, do we have one or two last waves in the tank left out here in the MDR, Tropical Atlantic Main Development Region? I think we have one, maybe two, but it's about to close down out there for the season. As we get into October, the MDR really begins to close down. So there's a little bit of scraggly member action here in the Gulf, Southwest Atlantic, but not much. But I just want to watch the areas you typically would watch in early October over the next several days. So as far as today's weather, we got some beneficial rainfall moving across the Rockies. That's good to see. A little bit of light return action across the middle of the country. And all this across the Mid-Atlantic, the Carolinas. This is from the outflow and basically the northerly pool of the moisture from Tropical Storm Imelda. So we're just getting cool, showery kind of conditions. And it almost looks kind of spooky out there, a little fall-like. But we will continue to have just rain around these areas in the Carolinas and bordering states over the next day or so. But as far as watches, warnings, and advisories, guys, it's quiet out there. There's nothing to talk about. Storm Prediction Center, I mean, this is quiet also. Nothing to really speak on whatsoever. No severe weather. The risk of excessive rainfall, I mean, marginal risk out in the Rockies, but just nothing to really speak on at all. Now, the southeast will continue just to have some breezy conditions from just the northeast flow on the northeast flow because of the northwest side of the system. So basically, you just got flow around Tropical Storm Imelda kind of going like this. So this is yanking down a solid northeast flow, and this is going to set the stage for drier air getting pulled down to the Carolinas. So by the time we get into tomorrow, it'll start to feel like fall again, thanks to these tropical systems. But we'll have some showers around this afternoon, this evening across the southern Alps. These could drift into Atlanta later on this evening. Not a big deal at all, though. As far as the northeast, rainfall won't make it up to anywhere up here from Imelda. It's a dry, fall-like day up here. You can see the rain shield from Humberto down here. And then we look at the south-central U.S. It's quiet, nice also. Nothing to speak on. Oh, I think I just exited. Yeah, I did. So we'll have to do this on the fly and that. And then for my folks up here in the north central U.S., I'll have to back it up. There is nothing to talk about. It is just quiet. Nothing to speak on. Hope you guys are well. Lisa, we are praying for you with your situation. Just want to let you know that. The western U.S. Rainfall kind of areas out and about across the Rockies, not a big deal. And then we get a solid storm system that moves into the western areas of Washington State, Oregon, Northern California, maybe even some thunderstorm action across the central and northern Rockies, and just widespread rains. Definitely turning into the wet season out here across the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures, what we look like, downright chilly up here in areas of Maine, northern New Hampshire, and Vermont. Pocket of cooler air from the cloud-covered rainfall from Imelda. Warm across the middle of the country. I mean, it can just continue to be an extension of summer across these areas. No crazy cold fronts that I'm seeing either as of right now, at least in a reliable time frame. Western U.S. is a little bit more chilly, but nothing too wild. So that's all I got. Let's create a timestamp here. Let's make this the timestamp. Let's do a Bible devotion. I know I haven't done one since, I don't even know when. It's been a few days. But this morning we're in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Y'all probably heard this one before. It says, "Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God." We talk about the will of God a lot, guys. But I wrote down a couple things. Don't allow the externals of this world change internally who you are. Renewing of your mind is always focusing on God in everything you do. When you focus on God, your eyes will open to know what actions to take that follow God's will on all situations in life. Discern, recognize, understand. See Christ all day, every day. You will be tempted to do, think, say, and react to things that you know is the wrong way to do those things, the wrong way to do it, right? So, I mean, this honestly hits on what we've talked about many, many times in these devotions before. It is easy to get wrapped up in the worldly stuff, guys. I mean, you know, y'all probably heard it before, the term brain rot. It's true, guys. I mean, just the stuff that you see on social media, whether it's TikTok, whatever it is. I mean, it seems harmless, but sometimes you just catch yourself scrolling too much, and you think, man, I really don't have any. I'm wasting my time. I need to be putting my time towards other things. But anyways, getting off track there. But just constantly challenge yourself with everything you say, everything you do, how you react to things. When I say challenge yourself, think how Jesus would handle that situation, right? And I do that. And I've said this many times before, but one of my prayers almost every single day is, God, just challenge me every day, challenge my thoughts, be a constant it's not the right word to use it, but I'll do it, a constant nagging in my internal thoughts to constantly do the right thing, be there right before I want to react negatively to something and really challenge it. And he does every single time. I pass the test sometimes and I fail the test sometimes. But in order for you to truly understand and be aligned with God's perfect will in your life, you have to work every single day to truly follow Christ. And that's through prayer, that's through quiet time, that's through reading scripture, that's being involved in a church, surrounding yourself around like-minded people, getting out your comfort zone so you can help people that might not be like-minded like you. And it's not easy. It's not, but I don't think it's supposed to be easy. That's the thing is, I think God, I know he did. He put these challenges in front of us for a reason. I mean, what if things were not challenging? How would we grow? How will we sustain the change that we're working towards? Sometimes I think about it like this. What if God just gave me a YouTube channel with 100,000 subscribers? What if God just made one of my videos get 100,000 views? Because you guys know, that was something that nagged at me for a while, that's been following for a while. And listen, that is not a huge deal at all in the grand scheme of things, at all. But it's just a very small example where I'm getting at. I wouldn't speed up all the work I put into this channel, all the investments I put into this channel. I wouldn't skip any of that looking back for anything, because it's made me who I am. And I can tell you my life is a testimony of working hard. And I honestly, there's an old phrase that everybody knows, universal. It's work smarter, not harder. But I would argue I've done the opposite, because I'm not a very smart person. Now, I know some people are like, Mitch, you're smart. I am not book smart. And that's why your boy don't have a degree. I see a lot of people in the comments always say, you're the best meteorologist out there. I'm not a meteorologist, guys. I don't have a degree. I'm just a guy that loves the weather, that's learned from other people. I know I'm getting a little off track here, but, constantly challenge yourself. And as I always say, I'm speaking to myself, because there's some weeks to go by that I'm like, man, I did not do enough. But constantly challenge yourself to get closer to Christ. And then some of the tough and hard things you're going through, you'll view it differently. Let's put it at that. And some people are going through some very awful, terrible things, like losing a child, losing a family member, things that I don't even know how I would react. One of my biggest fears is losing one of my little girls, as puts a chill down my spine right now, and I don't know how I would handle that. So, bad things happen every day. You got to prepare yourself for it. Not saying these terrible, terrible things are going to happen, but, constantly, it says it. Renew your mind. So that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day, and we'll do it again tomorrow morning.